Well, hey folks, this is John with Ozarks Backroads with you. We're out in my favorite place today, out in the middle of nowhere in the government woods. We're on the mighty V-Strom, and spring has sprung here in the Ozarks. We got some leaves on the trees now and things are starting to bloom. So we're going to take a ride in the government woods and go check out the 11-Point River. See if there's any water in it and how it's looking. We're going to check out a spring that comes out of the bottom of a bluff and makes a little waterfall, and a spring creek that runs into the 11-Point River, so it should be pretty cool. I invite you to stick around. We'll take a ride on the mighty V-Strom and check out spring here in the Ozarks. So we're out in the government woods today. We're in Shannon County, Missouri. I'll put a map up here and show you the little road we're on and where we're going down here. It's a place called Turner Mill. Now, there used to be an old mill down here on this spring creek years and years ago, but it's long gone. The water wheel is still there, but that's about it. The spring and the waterfall is pretty nice, and it's right on the 11-Point River, which is beautiful. We finally got the V-Strom out, got it out of the garage. I've been down took a trip out to Texas and Arizona. Been gone a few weeks down there, so the V-Strom's been sitting in the garage quite a bit this spring, but today's its day to get out and stretch its legs a little bit. You hear my new Delcovic muffler on this V-Strom. I kind of like it. It sounds pretty good in the woods. I had a pretty good trip out west. Enjoyed it. Didn't get to spend as much time as I wanted to, but that's the way it goes. But I really enjoyed Big Bend National Park and State Park down there at Terralingua, Texas. Had a group ride, had some folks come out to meet me, and had a pretty good time there. And then went on out to Arizona from there and ran around in the mountains out there and checked out some dead gunfighters and different things. I had a pretty good trip. I really enjoyed it. The weather was absolutely perfect. It couldn't have been any better. I put these mirrors off the Tiger, put them on the V-Strom here, got rid of them big barn door mirrors, and I really like these things. These a lot quieter when you're out on the highway. You don't get all that, it doesn't kick up as much turbulence off the mirrors as it did with them big barn door mirrors. Those things were really, it kicked that turbulence up right in the side of your helmet. It was really noisy. These are a lot better. I noticed that today, that they're just a lot quieter. I ended up putting a set of double take mirrors on the Tiger. A little more durable. I tend to drop that thing. I take it in places I'm not going to be taking this bike. I'll put it that way. Wow, it's just beautiful out here. Nothing like a ride in the woods, I tell you. I do enjoy riding in the mountains out west, but it's a different kind of beauty that we have here. This is a much more close-up and personal kind of thing. Whereas when you're out in the mountains, it's huge, big vistas and big, long views across between the mountains. And here, it's right up close in your face. You know, it's real cozy, I guess. Here's our first little creek right here. I don't even know what the name of this creek is. That's pretty sweet right there. Hard to beat that. I would say. Let's see, if I remember right, there's a trailhead up here somewhere, the big long one that runs all through the Ozarks for hundreds of miles. I think this is the trailhead. What is it called? The Ozark? Just says Ozark Trail. This Ozark Trail runs all over the Ozarks. I mean, it's hundreds of miles long. And this is just a spot where this road happened to cross the trail right here. Looks like people have been camping down here. We got hikers out on the trail. Hitching post there for the horses. A lot of horseback. People ride horses a lot on these trails, these hiking trails. You can ride a horse on them. If you got a horse you trust that much. I never trusted a horse that much. So I hope to be doing some several camping adventures this season on this V-Strom here. Got several places I'd like to go. I tried to make it down to Louisiana, down to the Gulf of Mexico. I was going to stay there at Lafayette, Louisiana. You know, ride the bike down there, spend 3 or 4 days and ride around in the swamp, the bayou and stuff. And I had it all planned up, my reservations made, and the weather just, it wasn't having it. We got these big spring storms and fronts coming through, and woo, we're up on top of a ridge here. So this summer I'm gonna try to make it a point to make that trip. All right, I think we're getting close down here. This looks familiar. I'll park over here in the shade. It's starting to warm up a little bit today. Here we are on the little spring creek that the spring makes up. You always know you're in a spring whenever you see this watercress growing in it. Why, you're in a spring. So we'll follow this little creek up to the source here. A long time ago there was a mill, a water mill, right here on this little creek, and the big old wheel that was on the mill is still sitting up here in the middle of the creek. We'll take a look at it. But it used to be a kind of a happening little spot here. There were several houses and a mill and office buildings and for the mill sitting right along in through here, but that's all long gone now. Well, right here is a look at the big wheel that was on the mill house that used to stand here. This mill right here is 20 feet in diameter, and the mill originally was built in the 1850s, and they had a wooden overshoot wheel, just an old wooden wheel with belts and pulleys and mechanical type power for the mill. And then in 1915 the wooden wheel was removed and this steel turbine type wheel was put in, and they changed it over to electric and put a generator on this wheel here. You can see the ring gear there with the teeth all around it. That's what drove turned the teeth on the generator, and they changed all their equipment over in the mill to electric and ran off of the generator. That's a huge wheel, 20 feet in diameter. Biggest wheel I've ever seen on a mill here in the Ozarks. Here's a pretty nice shot of the spring right here. Quite a bit of water rolling in it today, nice and noisy. Up here we can see the hole that it comes out of at the bottom of the bluff here. Up here to the left of it, you can see some old rock work. There used to be a water flume that ran water to the mill from up there to the top of that wheel, so it didn't drop in elevation as quick as the creek does. So there was an extensive amount of rock work down here to bring the water into the mill. All that's gone now. It's been washed out probably by floods. And I imagine people probably took those rocks back in the day when they were done with the mill and used them for other things, houses, what have you. That spring is pretty sweet. It's one of my favorite springs in the Ozarks. Yeah, this is one of my favorite little spots in the Ozarks. I just really like that spring up there and the waterfall and the water wheel and the whole bit, the river. It's got it all right here. Well, the V-Strom brought us out of there. Didn't seem to labor too bad. I'm not surprised. Best thing I've ever done to a motorcycle was put the cartridge emulators in the front forks on this V-Strom. Those things totally changed this bike. It's unbelievable the difference those having forks that actually work makes. I think there's an old, what is it, maybe an old fire tower over here if I'm where I think I am. But I'm not going to swear to that. We'll see what's up here. Somebody left their rock laying out. It's going to get wet. That looked like they had a little problem there with the tree in the road. This is the fire tower place that I was thinking of. They got a big fire tower right here that I don't think they use it anymore, but whew, it's a ways up there. I used to climb these when I was a kid, go up the ladders. Usually the door will be locked at the top. They got a hatch door, those will usually be locked. And it looks like they've removed the last section of ladder there that goes up into the cabin, but that's pretty cool. Well, I think we are just about to the highway up here. Folks, I appreciate you all hanging out with me, checking out Turner Spring, the 11-Point River. We got a nice ride today on the V-Strom in the Ozarks. Spring is upon us. We've got leaves on the trees once again, so everything's good. I invite you all to come back and see me. We'll go somewhere and do something else. Till I catch up with you again, you all take care of yourselves. We'll catch you next time.